Good evening, friends and family, and thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities. Tonight we have a special guest. All of our guests are special because they all are serving our community. And many of our people that have come on this podcast have been serving our communities for decades. And tonight we have Lady Di. She is the proprietor of Boots and Saddles. And Boots and Saddles is, as we have known them, have been a horse riding stable in Pembroke, one of the oldest Black communities here in Illinois. And Lady Di is a proprietor. She's been there for a long time since they've been working as a horse stable. And then she's also moved on into the area of sustainability and agriculture, as a number of people in that area have been doing. And so we're going to be talking to Lady Di tonight about what she's doing, what she has done, telling us all about the history of the boots and saddles. And so this is going to be a very interesting and informing conversation. And why is this important for Chicago? Because sustainability and agriculture is very important. It's very important to our communities. It's very important to our economic stability. It's very important to our health. So, just to remind you, as we do every week on our podcast, we here are a nonprofit organization, and we are a few people who have come together to try and make a difference here in Chicago. We want to circulate the dollars in our community because we know that our communities cannot thrive without the dollars circulating. And the way we're doing that is by supporting Black-owned businesses. And we have many Black businesses in Chicago and in the Chicago area that we need to know about and we need to support. And our Black businesses are more than likely to hire Black people. They're more than likely to provide other entrepreneurial opportunities. They have a vested interest in our communities. And they also provide role models for our children, and they support people in the communities, in their families. So these dollars are going to find their way back into our communities to help us to survive. And so that is why we're here. And so we support our Black bank, the Southside Community Federal Credit Union on 54th and Wentworth. They have a $5 million campaign going on right now for community development, and they need you to open up an account. And when you open up an account in a bank, you give them an opportunity to raise dollars, to create money. So please support the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. And so we have Doris here with us tonight, and we're glad to have her. Hi, Doris.
Hi, Denise, and good evening to the family. Good to be back with everyone.
Absolutely. So, Doris, can you give us the announcements that we have for tonight as well?
Well, our bookstore is African Wear, Afriwear bookstore in Maywood. So we have a winner for February. Her name is Margaret Dorch, and the name of the book that she won is the Black History uh, the Black History book by David Olusoga. That's
Hmm.
Margaret Dorch is the winner for February, and the name of the book is The Black History Book by David Olusoga. Now, for our March giveaway book, the name of the book will be Message to the People by Marcus Garvey. And we have been giving away some amazing books. So hopefully next month, we know we'll have a different winner. And we're just so excited about bringing these Black bookstores in and then offering books to the winner of the winner of the month.
Okay, thank you, Doris. And then it's in the our bookstore is important because that's where we get our knowledge. And a lot of the books that you will find if you watch the podcast that we had last week with Brother Yoel, where we actually went on location and was able to see all of the wonderful books that he has. Uh, you're not going to find some of these books on Amazon. And the conversations that you can have around these books before you even purchase them, you won't have those conversations on Amazon. So, in order for
And
us to progress, we have to know our history and we have to know the knowledge about what's going on in our community. So that's why we support our
And
Black
also,
book.
Denise, to add on to that, we used to have about 20 bookstores in the Chicago area land, and now we only have two. That's why it's so important that we
We
support our
actually have
bookstores.
three. We've got
Three, I'm
three.
sorry.
Yeah, we got
Three.
two on the south side and we have one on the west side. And Afriware is in Maywood, but they are so supportive of what's going on in Chicago. We do support Afriware.
Hmm.
So yeah, we have to keep our bookstores going. And as part of our public policy division, we are trying to get our libraries and our schools to get contracts with our bookstores to support them. And they're able to do that because this happens in other communities. So that's something that we are working on. So before we go any further into that, let's get started with our interview with Lady Di. So can I call you Diane?
Yes.
Okay, Diane, I want to thank you for taking out this time to come tonight. And I'm going to give you ample opportunity to talk about, what you have been doing and talk about boots and saddles. We want to hear as much information as we can from you tonight because you are the historian for this establishment. And so when we think about boots and saddles, we think about it as a horse riding stable. And I would like you to tell us how this came about, when and how this actually came about.
Well, it started out with my father being a avid fisherman and horseback rider, and he always traveled to Michigan and Wisconsin to do that. So he came out in this area visiting relatives and just fell in love with the atmosphere and decided to buy land here, which was closer to Chicago. And he started the horseback riding ranch and got involved with Daddy O'Daly and his radio show and had live entertainment. A lot of old stars that are some of them are not even here with us anymore. And that's the way we began in 1977. So from there, my mom decided that she wanted to train kids in sustainable agriculture, landscaping, horsemanship, animal husbandry, raising chickens and eggs and things like that. So she added that on, and it became B.S.R.R. Youth Center and Academy.
Okay.
So I am continuing with both of their visions by having sustainable agriculture and teaching kids to grow and to appreciate the land.
Absolutely. So, with in terms of boots and saddles, now a lot of people I've used to go horseback riding. I've gone horseback riding to different stables. Do we have a lot of black horse riding stables here in Illinois? You
No,
know,
no,
no. Is
no.
boots and
There
saddles
are a lot of stables, a lot of black stables in Illinois, but they're not open to the public. They
okay?
don't do horseback riding per se. You come and rent a horse and ride. No,
So what do they do?
they just board their own horses and board horses for other people, and they have areas where people can come and exercise their horses and train and that
Mhm.
type of thing.
So now, do you still offer the riding at Boots and Saddles?
Yes, we do have limited riding. We no longer do the trails, but we do ride around the property.
So
But
is this something that has been is this been stable, or would you say this is an institution for as far as where you're coming from? Is it something that is not continuing? uh are you losing people coming out, or what's going on with that?
yeah, we did. We lost a lot of people coming out because of not having the horseback riding. But the focus on that was not sustainable for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we're more focused on being sustainable as a business and community. You
Okay.
know, everybody in this area that's into horses have a horse, so it's not a novelty. And
Okay.
then they people still they're not into riding as much as they used to be. So that's why we changed the focus to the agricultural side.
Okay, because I noticed sometimes here in Chicago they bring horses. We see horses in the parks here. Have you participated in that? We've seen black,
Yes,
horse riders actually bringing the horses in. So you all have presented there.
yes, we participated in that in the Bud Billiken Parade and in Washington Park. They have an annual event where they have horses riding down Lakeshore Drive. We participated in that for years,
Mm-hmm.
but we're getting better, not younger.
Okay. So do you think it's just a matter of I mean, how do you think you could spark the interest? Because I know, what do they call it? Equestrians. This is like a sport, riding the horses. And you told me in the earlier conversation with you that you used to do all of that kind of riding. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Well, it's an expensive hobby,
Mm,
so you really have to be into horses to want to deal with them. Not only the maintenance, but the health of the horse and the stable that they're in. It's all very expensive.
mm-hmm. Okay. So who were most of your customers? Where were most of your customers coming from?
From Chicago.
From
Yeah,
Chicago area.
yeah.
Well, hopefully we could spark some interest again and people coming out, more, because it's definitely a fun activity, and it's our children in Chicago. They need as many different types of experiences as they can get, um, in terms of all different kinds of sports. So, how many horses do you have?
Right now we have four,
You have
and
four?
it's $10 for children and $20 for adults to ride.
Oh, okay.
But if we have a larger crowd, we can source them out. We can source out horses from other
Okay.
farmers that have them.
Now, do you give riding lessons? Do you teach?
Not at this time, no. We used to do that. We
Okay.
don't really have the staff for that now.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like I said, our focus is mainly on the agricultural side. We're raising vegetables and chickens and eggs for healthier eating and living,
Sure.
and trying to impress the kids with this type of atmosphere.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know you're in Pembroke, and there are a number of other Black farmers in Pembroke. And you're just one of the farms. Can you tell us about some of the other farmers that are out there in Pembroke?
Yes, we have several farmers, and they're from all of them are natural farmers. They don't use chemicals, but they're a couple of them are certified organic, and they not only raise the vegetables, but they have fruit and the chickens and eggs and goats and sheep and cows. We have a wide variety of farmers doing different things.
Okay. So you all work together in terms of producing different products, like one farm maybe produce certain product, another farm produce another type of product?
Yes, we do network with each other, and we share customer bases. So if I don't have enough to fill my order, I can go to my neighbor and get the rest. And
Okay.
yes, we do grow separate things because it really doesn't make sense for all of us to grow the same thing when we can expand more by
Okay.
doing specialty items.
So now on your farm, what type of products are you selling or are you growing, I would say?
Well, I grow all varieties of greens and all varieties of peppers, tomatoes, cabbage, onions, squash, zucchinis, cucumbers, peas, beans, and
Okay.
herbs.
And herbs.
Yes,
Okay. What type of herbs?
I
Yeah.
have rosemary, cilantro, um, basil, thyme, and a couple others.
Okay. And now, do you do anything with these herbs that you grow? Anything special with them? I would assume a lot of those would go in your foods for seasoning, but do you use them for any other products?
Yes, basically they're for the food,
They're
for
basically for
seasoning.
the food.
Hmm.
Okay. Because I know a lot of people make soaps and they make skincare products. Um, and they use a lot of herbs sometimes in their skincare products. So do you ever get anyone contacting you to get any of your product for, you know, making other things besides, spices?
Not at this point because my herbs are not raised on a really large scale, so I don't have a client base for those.
Okay. So do some of the other farmers have, are there farmers out there that have more herbs?
Yes, yes. Basu Farms specializes in taking herbs and making all kinds of medicinal um, products, hair care, skin care, mosquito repellent, poultices for aches and pains. Yes, they do more of that.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great. Now Dora said, asked the question. We had a question in the chat that wanted to know, did anybody grow Crowder peas?
Yes, we do. We're known for the crowd of peas, the purple hulls, the
Okay.
soybeans, the whippoorwills. Yes, we grow a lot of those
Okay.
in the
Great.
collective. Now, I personally only grow the crowd of peas and purple hulls and string beans.
Okay. So we have your farm and Boots and Saddles. Uh, Now you also have, you said you have chickens and you have eggs,
Yes, farm raised chickens and eggs.
farm raised chicken and eggs. Now I did hear you say in the beginning that some people have fresh grown foods without any chemicals or products on them, because I frequent the farmers market, and I have a number of farmers that tell me that they haven't put any types of bug spray or anything like that on their products, and then there are others that say it's organic. So what would be the difference between those people who do not put any kind of chemicals on their products and those who have that organic label?
Well, the organic products are chemical free. Basically, that's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
But the when you grow it naturally, if the bugs like it, you should like it.
Okay.
But the chemical based products are so perfect that it looks like somebody drew it on a canvas, because the chemicals keep all the bugs and all of the insects away, but the taste of the product is not as good.
Okay. Okay. And I'm assuming the ones with the chemicals on them last longer, right?
Yes,
Or
they
no?
do.
Mm-hmm.
They last longer, they grow bigger. Yeah,
And so you're consuming all of that.
right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now we mentioned one farm that has the and I'm going to get to the question in the chat about the stores in a minute. But you mentioned you have this farm that has the herbs for medicinal products and for skincare. You mentioned the types of products that you grow. Uh, what do some the other farmers have? They would you say they would specialize in?
Well, I know one of the farmers, Runaway Buckers, they raise pigs and chickens
Hmm.
along with their vegetables.
Okay.
And the Ayabo Farms has the goats and chickens along with their vegetables, and their vegetables are organic.
Okay.
And the Thurman Farms, they raise a lot of corn and soybeans and a lot of peas. That's where we get the majority of the peas from. They're organic as well.
Okay.
And plus they raise bees. So they
Ah,
have honey also.
okay.
We have a blueberry farm. They just grow blueberries. And um, it's a few others, but basically we're growing some of the same things.
Okay. So, how do you bring these foods to market? Are they in any stores? Or are you going to farmers markets? How do you get these products to people?
Well, right now it's more word of mouth, because when COVID started, that kind of cut the venues for the farmers markets where we would bring them to the city.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more so of them coming to us to pick up vegetables.
Okay. They have to actually come out to Pembroke.
Yes,
Okay. Some of them have delivery services, right? Uh,
yes.
uh-huh. But they would deliver. Do you know what that actually is looking like? Uh, as far as the delivery, to actually deliver to the door or deliver to a certain place where everybody picks up, or how does that work?
It's delivery to a certain place.
Okay. Okay.
We had a church that came out and picked up their vegetables, and they brought them to the church, and the people from the church could go there to get them. And
Okay.
then we delivered vegetables to the WIC office in Austin area, and we brought them to their location, and
Mm-hmm.
they were distributed from there.
Okay. So before COVID, where were some of the places that you were actually able to have a market
We
for your
did the
products?
Seaway Bank for about 13, 14 years. We did Trinity Church for 7, 8 years. I did South Shore a couple of years. I've been to Dalton. I've been to Olympia Fields. But Seaway Bank and Trinity were the most lucrative.
Mm-hmm. And how often would you come?
Once a week.
Once a week,
Yes.
usually on the Saturday or weekday.
It would be Wednesdays for Seaway and Saturday for Trinity.
Okay. Now, did you come? Okay, Wednesday. What times a day would you usually come?
It was 9 to 1.
9 to 1. Okay, because I like I said, I like to shop at the farmers markets, and I know there often people would have
Excuse
the
me.
markets, but they would be at a time where I couldn't come because you have people who work that that's like a crowd that's being missed, and so I had to relegate my time to shopping at markets that were open on Saturdays.
Hmm.
So were any of the black farmers making themselves available on the weekends or at later hours during the day?
Yeah, yeah, there were some. I offhand I can't name the locations. I know that it was a couple other markets on the south side, but I
Mhm.
don't know off the top of my head where they were located.
Okay. And do you have your products in any stores?
Not at this moment.
Have you had your products in any stores?
No, no. I did a lot of marketing though at those markets. I also do added value products where I can some of my vegetables, and I had a quite large customer base for that.
Okay. Now that's something I have always been interested in is canning. I used to watch my great grandmother. They did a number of things, I saw them quilting and making ice cream and I saw them canning. I never got involved. It's just something I saw them doing. But it's something I've always been really interested in. So what would be involved in canning fruits and vegetables?
Basically, just following the recipe. It's a little different for each vegetable. It depends on what you're canning, and it's not that hard. A couple of good stock pots and an area wide space wide enough for you to work with. Preferably a dishwasher, to keep your jars clean. But you can
Hmm.
wash them by hand, and that's it.
Wow. So you don't have to have any special kind of equipment because when I look up canning, I see these big pots and you know other types of equipment. It gets to be kind of expensive.
Yeah, yeah. You could use a pressure cooker, and those can run kind of expensive. But you just need a basket that you can lift your cans out of the pot with, and the pot.
Hmm. Wow,
You
you
need at
make it
least two,
sound.
because for one you got to, some of the vegetables have to be cooked,
Hmm.
and then others just wash them up and put them in the jar.
Okay. Wow, you make it sound really simple. So what kind of foods do you can?
Well, I make cha cha for one, which is a relish made out of cabbage and tomatoes and onions and peppers. And I make hot pepper relish, which is strictly made out of hot peppers, and all kinds of jams. It depends on whose fruit tree I can get to.
Okay. So you do the blueberries and
Yeah, I do blueberries, I do pears, I do apples.
okay. And
And
so
as far as the vegetables, I have canned greens, string beans, tomatoes, squash, zucchini.
okay. So once you once you can, um, how long does it last in the, I know people buy canned goods off the shelf, and people buy canned goods off the shelf, and they last, for years. So the canning, type of canning that you're talking about, how long do these products last?
They have at least a year shelf life.
Okay. And you can greens.
Yes.
What kind of greens?
Mustard, turnip, collards, kale,
Okay. Mustard, collard, kale. Okay.
turnip greens.
And turnip greens.
Yes. And even
Okay.
spinach.
And spinach. Okay. Do you can meats?
No,
No.
no.
Okay. Okay. So you have really, I know you made a big emphasis on having children um, involved in this whole process of agriculture. And you also have you've mentored and trained and had a lot of students come out to your farm. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so would you like to tell us about that?
Well, like I said, my mom started with the kids when she formed the B.S.R.R. Youth Center and Academy, and I continued with her process by training youth. They start as early as 2. My oldest kid now is 15, and a couple of them have been with me since they were 2. And they start with the basics. We put the seed in the little pot and water it on a daily basis, and then when it's time, we put it in the ground, and they do the weeding and the harvesting, and I've even taken them to market so they can
Mhm.
sell it.
Okay. And how old are they? How old are what's the age range?
It's from 2 to 15.
2 to 15.
Yeah.
And they're learning how this food. And so how do they like it? How do they enjoy?
Oh, they enjoy it. They enjoy it because they outdoors getting fresh air, and it's not just all work and no play. They get to run around, and most kids love to play in the dirt anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
and you have to stop them from digging holes. So I just teach them that, okay, if you're gonna dig a hole, put a seed in it, and it works. It works, and then they take pride when they look back on what they've done and see the vegetables coming up, and they're all in a nice neat row, and they pulled all the weeds out, and it's nice and clean around the plant. That's inspiring to them too. And then when they get compliments from other people coming and seeing it and telling them, well, you all did a really wonderful job, that's even better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this
And
is
I
something
think
that they're
what's
going to keep in their life. They're going to take this with them as they grow older and hopefully pass it on to their children. Because these children that I'm
absolutely
working with now, I worked with their parents.
okay. Okay. I think what's so important about learning how to grow your own food is I think it also is in line with cooking, because if you're
Yes.
growing your own food, you're more than likely to cook those foods that you're growing, and that plays into some of the problems that we're having in our community with health. Too many people are eating out, too many people are eating fast foods, um, too many people don't know how to cook. And so I think, and I'm sure you do too, that it's very important that we're cooking and preparing our own foods.
Yes, that's part of the process. If you can grow it, you can learn how to cook it because you certainly like to eat it. So, I mean, and it's not really an age limit on that because even the little kids can sit there and watch what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing
Mm-hmm.
and absorb that information. And then
Mm-hmm.
when they get old enough to do it themselves, they have a general idea of what to do. And the bigger kids are hands on completely.
And
So,
see,
yeah.
this is what we're talking about in our organization when we say that our businesses, and what we do in our community serve as role models for our children. And it is inspiring to them. And I would hope that what they're learning also will inspire them to start businesses, in this area with planting, growing, distributing, and hopefully beginning to open up stores, because we're not owning grocery stores in our communities. Uh, why do you think that that's such a problem?
Because we're the mom and pop stores and the bigger stores and corporations are taking over. They're more conveniently located, or they have a wide variety of stock, and folks are just used to going to them.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, they were used to going to the mom and pop stores because they were everywhere, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not so prevalent now.
Yep.
You have to really search to find them. So everybody's in a hurry, so they want to go where it's convenient, to go to the Walmart or the Kmart or the Jewels, some big conglomerate to get the food. And even though a lot of them are still eating fresh, they still go to the fresh section. The difference is, do they really know where that came from?
Absolutely.
So the small farmers, you get to know them, and you can see what they're doing, and you know where your food is coming from.
So, what are some things that you should consider when you're thinking about where your food is coming from, where your food has been grown? What are some things that should be considered there?
Well, uh, where did it come from? How far did it travel? What was it packed in? What was the environment like? The truck that it was transported in, or the people that packed it up, or those type of things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, certain foods are out of season for normal farmers. So where do they ship them from? I mean, we don't have a banana plantation here,
Mm-hmm.
or orange tree grove. So where do those things come from when it's not in season?
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think it's important? I know they say that the food that is locally grown is better for you, because it's more likely to be in line with your physical, makeup, the things that you've been exposed to in the environment.
Yes. And then it's the freshness of it, because it's recent. It hasn't had a chance to sit on the shelf or sit in a freezer or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It comes up and gets harvested and shipped right out.
Right. So, when you mentioned the mom and pop stores, now you say people go to these other stores out of habit. They go out of convenience. Do you think there's still a desire for people to really want to go to the mom and pop stores?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I agree.
Especially the older generation. I'm sure they miss that a lot,
Absolutely.
because it was little things in there that were different and special. that you
Mm-hmm.
don't find in the bigger conglomerates.
Right.
And then it was the neighborliness of it, because you knew
Sure.
these people in these little
Absolutely.
stores, and you would converse with them and ask them how their family is, and it was more
Mm-hmm.
community interaction with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A relationship that you're
Yes,
establishing. And when you go into the store, you're not just going in there to buy something, but
right,
there's an experience. There may be a favor that you might get from going in that store. That person knows you, or something that you would like for them to carry, you
right,
know, that you are more than likely to get somebody that cares about you.
right.
Hmm. And I know, we have a lot of our immigrants that have come to the country, especially a lot of the Arabs. They have a lot of grocery stores, um, in our different communities, and that seems to have impacted our mom and pop stores as well.
Yes, it has.
Hmm. Because they seem like what I see all the time now, it's a gas station, and the gas station is a one-stop shop.
Yes.
In the gas station, you get gas, you can get some groceries, you get snacks, you can get your cigarettes, you can get your liquor, you can play your lottery games, and you can get some clothes to wear. you know,
Right.
everything, everything is a one-stop shop.
You're right about that.
One-stop shop. And that's what I would hope with the children that you're working with, that they would be inspired to think about opening up grocery stores. So now, do you have internships for these children, or how does your program come about?
Well, I have a summer program, but I haven't really gotten any new members. I'm still dealing with the ones that I've had for years now. But
Mm-hmm.
I do have a summer program where you can sign up. And the only problem is you have to have your own transportation, which kind of
Okay.
knocks out the city, because this
Hmm.
is a long way to travel.
Yes, it
But we
is.
do have special events throughout the year where they can come and just tour for the day,
Mm-hmm.
and see what it's like. We do that for the local schools as well.
Okay, so you do that for the local schools out there?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, I had a chicken processing demonstration because I have the equipment to process my own chickens, but it's a lot of work, so I usually ship them to do that. But that I invited a lot of people from the city, and I had a nice little crowd for that. We went
Okay.
through the whole process of the live chicken and plucking the feathers, and it's not the wringing the neck. We don't do that
Oh,
anymore.
that's what I was going to ask when you said
No,
you started with the live chicken.
no. Mm-mm, no, it's a kosher kill. You put them down in a comb and slice the throat and let them bleed out, and then they don't wiggle and get all bruised and traumatized.
So
And
why is that important?
because it might affect the taste of the bird.
Mm.
Oh,
In what way?
Well, it just might taste bad in that corner
Oh,
where they got a bruise.
okay,
Just like it would hurt you, it hurts them.
okay.
okay, okay. So have you been able to bring your program, uh, like into the city, or have you considered bringing it into the city to work with some individuals in Chicago area?
Well, I no, I have not considered coming into the city because that would be a little hard for me to travel and stuff. I would
Hmm.
prefer that they came out here where I am, to spend a day and they can be in the atmosphere.
Okay.
I know they have a lot of urban gardeners in the city and they have all kinds of programs for the kids. and they
Oh,
can be hands on with it as far as that goes. But this is, my whole technique is rural. So,
okay.
the inner city kids don't experience this rural atmosphere.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
They don't,
I recall.
they would run from the bugs, and the chickens would probably scare them. And, if the horse made a noise, they'd be across the fence. So, I mean, they need to have the exposure of the country.
Oh goodness.
Well, yeah, I mean, it takes some, it takes some getting used to, when
Yeah, it
you're,
does. It does.
I spent the night out there, one night, and, I mean, I had a wonderful sleep. I had a sleep like I hadn't had and I don't know when. There are no lights out there at nighttime. You can almost touch the darkness.
Yes. But
And,
you can look up at the sky and see a million stars.
yeah,
You can see a
absolutely.
whole full moon. And you can
Absolutely.
breathe in fresh air. And the peace and
Absolutely.
tranquility that you get from all of that is just undeniable. You can't bottle it and sell it. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to come to this type of atmosphere to receive it.
Absolutely. So, do you have, when we talk about role models, um, do you have some of the children that you're working with or individuals in your family that are going to take this baton, that you can pass this baton to, that will continue the great work that you're doing out there?
Yes, I do. I do. I have a lot of faith in my kids, but
Mhm.
my son, for one, I believe would take it over. And my grandkids, most definitely,
Okay.
because they're like their grandma. They dirt dogglers. They love to be in the dirt,
They love to
and
be
they
in the
love to
dirt.
grow things. So,
Well,
and
and
then
that's because of you.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. It's a family trait. It's been going in my family forever. We always grew something. If it
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was an indoor plant or a plant in the garden, we always grew something.
Okay.
And I
So,
just feel like whatever I'm doing, I need to teach them. So if I'm
okay.
cooking, they cook. If I can, they can. If I make jewelry, they make it. Whatever it is, they need to have that experience. And
Okay.
each year, I try to come up with a new plan for them. I'll tell them to design their section of the garden and figure out how many seeds they need to put in there, and how much it's going to cost to raise it, or how much money they can make after they raise it. Try to have little incentives like that to keep them focused.
Now see
Even make
this
it a little contest to see who does the best.
Plus you're
and see
teaching.
this is the best way to learn. You know,
Yes,
you think you're sitting in a classroom and you're learning how to count, you're learning how to add and subtract, and they give you number problems. But the best way to really grasp these concepts is in a functional manner, which is what you're doing
yes,
with them. So you're teaching them math, and you're teaching them about finances, and you're teaching them critical thinking skills.
yes, yes.
That's exactly what you're doing. And you
That's my
teaching them
goal.
and you teaching them how to cook. Are they cooking?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. They're getting kind of good at it too. A couple of things they make that I taught them, they can do it better than I can. So yeah,
Oh,
and not
wow.
only the kids, but their parents come and watch, and they learn.
That's
So
really that's really
it's
Okay.
cool. That's really
So,
cool.
so are you getting into what I want to ask you, hydroponics? Have you done anything like that out there?
yes, we have
Uh-huh.
done hydroponics. We raise strawberries in those cones, and
Okay.
they came out really well. But we had a tornado to come through, and it knocked all the electricity out and killed them all, and they just would not come back after that for some reason. But I haven't tried it again lately. That's another project that I want to get into when I can. And then the aquaponics with the fish, that was pretty fairly easy,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a system where the plants, you water the plants, and the runoff from the plants would go through the filter to the fish,
Mm-hmm.
and it would filter back up through the plants fresh. So
Okay.
it was amazing how it worked. But the plants would flourish, and the fish would get fat. So
Wow.
it's a good deal, but it's a lot of work too, and you need hands for all of that. And I ran out
Okay.
of hands, so I had to
Ran out
stop
of
doing a lot
hands.
of things I used to do.
Yeah.
It, and, and
Absolutely.
and the horses is one of them. You need a crew for those horses.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's a constant thing. You got to have the guides, and you got to have somebody to saddle them up and make sure the people get on right, and make sure they're safe on the trail. So it's a lot involved in that, which is why I kind of cut down on it.
Okay. So, what about the other question I want to ask you about? Since you're on a farm, I know sometimes that I've been out there, some people are operating totally off of generators, and so are you looking at other sources of energy
Yes, I
out
would
there?
love to be solar.
Mm-hmm.
That's the plan for the future, to be totally run under solar power. I do have a few solar panels in one of my outbuildings that supplied enough juice to light up the front and inside of that room.
Okay.
So, but that's just a few panels, and if I could do that with a few, if I had 100, it would just probably operate half of the property.
Wow. And are you doing any recycling out there?
Yes, I do recycle my aluminum.
Hmm.
Okay. So, what do you do with the aluminum?
I bag it up, and when it gets to be so much, I take it in
Ah,
to the recycling place,
ah.
Okay.
or either I give it to somebody to take in.
Okay. And do you do any recycling with the foods? The foods, you use the foods out there for,
Well, basically, right now the recycling goes to our dogs.
okay.
Waste not, want not. The
Okay.
dogs will eat good, and they love
Okay.
vegetables too. But they,
Okay.
whatever is left,
Okay.
we don't believe in wasting food. Period.
Not
It's,
throwing
Hmm.
it's
any.
just too many hungry people. So if we don't eat it, they should certainly will.
Okay.
That's cute.
And
Now,
even with some of the fruit, like the bad apples, we give those to the horses. The carrots, the horses eat that.
okay.
The chickens eat the green roughage.
Ah.
Okay. I know when I visited Black Oaks Farm out there, uh oh my goodness, she had something that she was growing around her house that she gave to the chickens, something, lambs, is it lambs quarters?
Yes, yes, lamb's quarters.
Lambs quarters, right.
It's a form of a green,
Hmm.
Okay.
and a lot of people eat them. They're pretty tasty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
And we got a
grow.
lot of what is it, callaloo?
Callaloo greens. Oh, you
Yeah,
grow
it's
callaloo
the
greens
African
out
green.
there?
They grow. Wow, we usually
Now,
pull that
do
up as
you
weed.
do you can those?
No, I haven't. I haven't done that.
Okay. Because I'm very interested in some of your canned greens. Now, you
Okay,
had
well now
mentioned
that
to
you mention
me,
it, I will look into that.
yeah,
Um,
callaloo.
the Ayabo Farms, she cooks those on a regular basis, so she would know how to season it and put it in the pot or whatever. and I can
Mm-hmm.
get the instructions from her on that. I
Yeah, because
imagine that it's just the same way I do the greens.
okay. Yeah, because I know I've had callaloo greens in the Caribbean island. They would have those a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They're very tasty. Now, so do you have online product? Are people able to order products from you online?
Not at the moment. No, the only thing that I put online was the jewelry. That was a project that my kids had one winter when we couldn't get in the garden. I said, well, let's just sit down and make some keychains, and we made about 1,000 of them, and we sold about half of them. I still got quite a few left, but they were all handmade and all original designs,
So what did
and
they
that
make?
kept
What
them
kind of
busy.
material? What kind of materials did they use to make the
We
keychains?
used old jewelry, pony
Okay,
beads,
okay.
anything that was available that we could string up.
So that's like another form of recycling. You know,
Yes, it
take
was. It
yeah,
was.
absolutely. Taking other things, old things, and making something new with them.
Yeah.
That's great. Um, I think Doris had asked something again about these crowder peas. So I think Doris.
Yeah. Do you have them? Do you carry them year round? The Crowder and the Purple Hull. Do you have them year round?
No, we don't. We can't keep them long enough to have them year round. Once they
Oh,
start coming up, they are out the door.
so do
We
you do
have so
you?
many people requesting them
Oh,
that
really?
that they never stay around.
So when is a good time to come out for something like that? Because I love Crowder and Purple Hull. So when
Late
is a good
July, early August, because
late
they take
July
a
and early?
while.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Mid-July,
take a
early
while
August.
for them to become full.
See, when I go to Mississippi, I bring a lot back with me and put them in the freezer. I mean, I
Hmm.
just love the Crowder and the Purple. It's nothing like those two peas.
Well,
Wow.
the people that grow them, they freeze a lot for their families, but they don't sell the frozen ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, didn't you say that you can take canned goods? When you can your fruits or vegetables, that you can put the cans, I mean the jars, because I know you put them in mason jars, that you can actually put them in the freezer
Yes, you can.
and
So Miss
they'll be okay.
Diane, do you do classes on how to preserve? Do you do classes like those?
No, I haven't done any yet, but I've been asked by several people to do them, so I think I will be starting one up this year.
My grandmother used to do it, but I never took the interest to learn. But now, as I get older, I'm interested in stuff like that, and I'd love to know how to can food.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I'll
absolutely.
keep that in mind. My
So,
mom started doing it, and I just watched her, and I wasn't really into it. But once she passed, I had to take up the plate, and try to do some of everything. So I mean, she did all the cooking and all these things that I just watched her do.
You
But thank
know,
goodness I did watch
yeah, that's
because it
something.
wasn't so hard for me to do it.
That's something you
And
could you
then
could do.
practice, just made it
Yeah,
better.
you can have those classes, and you could charge for them. Charge for the
Yes,
classes. Because
yes.
I'd love to take one. Like I said, my grandmother did it all the time, but I always said, I don't know how to do this and I don't know how to do that. And as you get older, you start thinking back on the things that you should have taken advantage of and you did it. So I'd love to learn how to can food.
yeah, they've done our grandparents did so many things, you know, that some people learn how to do the quilting,
Yeah.
the canning,
Yes.
there's so many things. I mean,
My
our
grandmother
people,
used to sew, and
uh-huh.
she passed that knowledge down to my mother and myself. I sew a little bit, my mother sewed a little, but my mother used to knit and crochet.
Oh,
And
Okay.
okay.
she taught me how to do it, but I just could never get into that. That
You
was
were
just a
like
little
me.
bit of sitting in one spot too long and waiting for this to get
Yeah,
together. So, but I still have some of the things that she made and that my grandmother made.
that's wonderful. Well, I had one more question I wanted to ask. There's an organization called the Advocates for Urban Agriculture that you mentioned to
Yes.
me, because we're definitely interested in supporting the farms in Pembroke and seeing whatever kind of connection we can make in the Chicago area. And so this Advocates for Urban Agriculture, can you tell me a little bit about who this organization is?
Well, they're a collective group of urban farmers and business owners that are what is it, BIPOC? It's a collective of BIPOC, and they have resources that they share with the
Hmm.
farming community
Oh,
Okay. And this
and
is a
information.
Black organization, right?
Well, it's a combination.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
but they're about growing food, most
Absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I'm going to let you have a final commentary, if you would, on why this is so important. Because I really appreciate you coming on and sharing the information that
you
you've
got to come
shared.
back too. You've got to come
So
back, Miss Diane.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's just something that I'm passionate about. The back in slavery days, the reason why the generations kept up with each other is because somebody would drill it into them. Your mama did this and your
Yeah.
granddaddy did this, and nowadays they don't do that.
mm-hmm,
The parents don't sit down with their kids and explain these things to them. So this is my little way of bringing it back. You know,
absolutely,
I'm passing on what my mom gave me and my grandmother gave me to my kids and grandkids, and hopefully their kids,
absolutely,
so we can continue that cycle.
Yeah.
absolutely. And I
Miss
think
Diane,
I think that's I think that's wonderful because we have so much, sometimes we have so much of we have so many things going on that we develop these negative attitudes about what we're not doing and what we can't do. But it's the people like yourself that are out here making something positive happen in your own little way, but in your own little way,
making a
it's
difference.
a big thing. It's a big impact. You just like you're out there planting in the ground and you're planting little seeds in the ground, and then look what you get from all of those seeds. So in your own little way, you're doing a big thing, and we really appreciate it. And so if someone wants to get in touch with you, to come out to the farm, to take advantage of your knowledge and the services and the products that you have, or even to go for a horseback ride, how can they best get in touch with you?
Well, our website is B.S.R.R. Youth Center and Academy Farm. We're also on Facebook under that same name. I'm on Facebook under Diane McDonald. And our phone number is area code 815-944-8000. But
Okay.
if you look us up on the web, all that information is there.
Miss
Okay.
Diane, it has been a pleasure listening to you. It's been so relaxing too. So you see how it's just so important that we go back to those old ways, because it's a life-saving thing. So thank you so much. I've truly enjoyed it.
Thank you for
Okay.
having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so you have a good evening.
Hey, hold my
We
number.
ask
Okay, no problem.
we ask that you continue to support our organization family. We ask that you go to rrgbc.org. We have a donation page, and you can make a donation. Come to our website and view our podcast. You can also, this podcast will be archived on our website, and you can watch it as many times as you want. And definitely get in touch with Lady Di out at Boots and Saddles. because she has a lot to offer. So I want to thank everyone for coming again.
Thank you, everyone.
And have a good night.
Thank you.
Have you? Oh my goodness.
I can't.